Okay, y'all, I have a baby in the background. So, divine, rising, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get this kicked off. Get the shares. Um, I already did the shares, so we are not gonna have to worry about. I don't have to really do that right now. Just need to make sure I can hear myself over here. There may be a delay. I already did the shares. There you go. All right. All right. All right. So, divine rising, everybody. You are tuning in right now, and where you are tuning in from. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And I am Shakita. For those who do not know who I am, I reside in the state of Texas and originally from Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma. And so I'm not going to keep, I'm not going to be here very long because I got a little baby in the background. So, so if you are looking in, or you can tune in right now, and you see, we're going to be talking about seeing beyond your current circumstances. Vision begins when you stop allowing today's circumstances to define tomorrow's possibilities. Just got to make sure I am. Yes, I am. All right. Um, so it's easy to believe our current circumstances tell us what's possible, but what if they're only describing where we are, not where we are capable of going? Inside Quiet Queens Academy, vision isn't about escaping reality. It's about learning to see your future through the lens of identity instead of limitations. And this morning, we're talking about developing vision that's rooted in clarity, alignment, and intentional leadership. And so today's Quiet Queens principle, vision expands when identity becomes stronger than circumstance. And so, again, divine rising to you, quiet queens, as we begin a new month together. I'd like to ask you a question. When you think about your future, what shapes the picture you see? Is it your current circumstance, your past experience, other people's expectations, or is it something deeper? So, inside Quiet Queens Academy, we believe vision isn't simply seeing what's possible, it's learning to see beyond what currently exists. And so, there was a time when I believe I had to wait until my circumstances changed before I could think differently. But over the years, I've learned something. Most meaningful change begins long before circumstances catch up, and it begins with perspective. And I'm so big on perspective now. So when your perspective changes, your decisions begin changing. And when your decision change, your life eventually follows. And that's why vision matters. And so here's the Quiet Queen's principle. Vision expands when identity becomes stronger than circumstance. Your current circumstances may explain where you are today. They do not determine where you are capable of going. So let's get into our first point. Vision begins with identity. And as you know, I speak a lot about clarity and identity. And so before you can build a different future, you must begin seeing yourself differently. And in my perspective, inside of Quiet Queens Academy, we often say identity before activity because the life you're building will rarely grow beyond the identity you're willing to accept. And when I became clear about who I was becoming, my mission or my vision naturally expanded. Not because my circumstance immediately changed because my thinking did. And so here's something that you can reflect on today. Are you cur- are your current circumstances shaping your identity, or is your identity shaping the way you respond to your circumstance? Once identity begins expanding, vision naturally follows because you begin recognizing possibilities that previously felt invisible. So vision changes your decision into my second point. The future isn't created by one dramatic choice. It's shaped by today's consistent, dis- uh, consistent decisions. And my perspective, one thing I've learned is that vision isn't only something you imagine, it's something you practice. Every decision either moves me closer to the woman I'm becoming or further away from her. And that's why vision isn't passive, it's practical. And so let's reflect on this. What decisions today would better reflect the future you're intentionally building? And where could one small adjustment create long term impact? And if you are joining with me on this morning, let me know where you're tuning in from. And we can go ahead and get you set it out. Um, and we are speaking about seeing beyond your current circumstances. And so, as our decision begin to reflect our vision, something deeper begins happening. We start reacting to circumstances and start leading from purpose. In my third point, vision creates hope without pressure. Vision isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about believing growth is still possible. I've learned that hope isn't found in denying reality. It is found in remembering that today's reality isn't the end of the story, right? So vision gives me permission to keep building, even while some part of the picture are still unfolding. So, meaning that we still got a little ways to go, right? So let me leave you with this reflection, something that you can reflect on today. What possibility have you stopped believing in? Let me restate that. What possibility have you stopped believing is available to you? What would change if you trusted that your future isn't limited by your present? And as I like to say, my past and my future is in my present now. So, what possibility have you stopped believing is available to you? And what would change if you trusted that your future isn't limited by your present? And here is a Quiet Queen's integration. Today's conversation wasn't really about goals, it was about vision. Vision grows from identity. Identity strengthens through clarity. Clarity creates structure. Structure supports alignment. And alignment is protected by discernment. And discernment establishes healthy boundaries. Boundaries preserves capacity, and capacity allows us to I can't go over it. Capacity allows us to practice faithful stewardship. And stewardship teaches us trust. And trust produces consistency. And consistency gives us confidence to see further than our present circumstances. And every doctrine continues to support the next. And that, if all that I went through is part of the Quiet Queens integration, is a doctrine that I have, you know, implemented. So many people believe that I'll develop a bigger vision once my circumstances improve. And that is probably farthest from the truth, right? And so inside Quiet Queens Academy, ask a different question. What if a clear vision is what helps us move beyond your current circumstances? Vision isn't wishful thinking, it's choosing not to allow today's limitations to define tomorrow's possibilities. And so, a practical integration that you can go in with on today is write down one area of your life where your current circumstances have been shaping your thinking. And then ask yourself, if I were responding from the woman I'm becoming instead of the circumstances I'm experiencing, what decision would I make? Let that answer guide one action today. Excuse me. And in closing, I'll leave you with this question. If your current circumstances were no longer allowed to define your future, what would you begin building today? Sit with that because every meaningful future begins as a different way of seeing, right? And so, if today's conversation resonated with you, I'd love to hear your perspective. Where has a change in your perspective opened the door to a new possibility? Your reflection may help another quiet queen recognize that her current circumstances are not the final chapter of her story. And thank you for beginning a new month, me. And I'll see you tomorrow morning as we continue installing the next layer of the Quiet Queens operating system, one conversation at a time. And y'all have a divine day.